They all do. They all own lingerie. I don't have Coke nose. It's just like it itches sometimes. Welcome back to RIVERHELL.
Welcome back, RIVERHELlians.
Welcome back to hell, if anything.
Chapter 5. Heart of Darkness.
Should be lightning behind me. I have, from the first 30 seconds of the show, I have a million questions and thoughts. You know you're fucking loaded when you can bury your family in the backyard. You have a plot of land where you can bury your grandparents, your great-grandparents, I think the Blossoms were slave owners. Like, at this point, there's so many people buried in their backyard, it goes back to the 1800s. You don't make all that money without enslaving people.
We find out that they have money in maple syrup.
Maple.
Which is if you don't know this, it's a very lucrative business.
Fuck
because they only do syrup tapping like a couple times a year or something like that.
It's exclusive and they export, and so they get paid big bucks. Economics. Let's get into watching a 17-year-old girl in lingerie with a candle walking down to see her brother's casket. Because I have so many questions.
Trapped within its walls, like some gothic heroine, was Cheryl Blossom, still grieving for her beloved brother Jason. Linked in death, even as they were in life.
This is literally one of my favorite scenes from the whole first season, particularly because it has like this very weird, spooky, supernatural vibe to it. Yeah, very gothic. And it's because they're like, at the beginning, you know, Jughead does his like little thing, which I agree with, because every neighborhood does have that weird house where
also,
you're just like, don't go over there.
Every time they cut to this house, it's always fog.
I would love to see the house listing for this. Imagine this. The Blossoms are on an episode of House Hunters, and they're just like, this house, Thornhill.
I can see Thornhill being on the Property Brothers, and them just like going, it's like, you know, I think we can knock down this wall. And
oh no, this isn't a house that was repaired. This is a house that they literally just bought like this.
Yeah, I can still see them just like doing some shit to it.
Because it was built by Dracula, and then he moved, and then they tried to...
And they're just like, how glued are you guys to the cemetery in the backyard?
Again, back to our episode of House Hunters. Gated house, 12 rooms, 6 bathrooms, or 6.5 bathrooms.
Yeah.
A parlor, a ballroom, a graveyard, permanent fog bank on retainer. This is one of my favorite scenes because of how spooky and shit it is. And it makes me wish that this show had a supernatural element to it.
I think we're getting there slowly. And Jensen Ackles just appears in fucking Riverdale.
Now that is a crossover I would watch. Supernatural.
No! No!
Supernatural did a crossover with Scooby-Doo. They could do Riverdale.
No.
You're trying to tell me that wouldn't happen and you wouldn't be here for it.
I just need it to stop. I just need Supernatural to end.
It and Grey's Anatomy have been on for almost exactly the same amount of time. They need to do a crossover.
We have gone through 3 presidents and Supernatural is still on air.
I told you, Cheryl. No more sleeping in Jason's bed.
I told you not to sleep in your brother's bed.
What are you doing in your brother's bed?
You know, drunk rich people.
It's just full on, I fucking hate this kid. Like, you were a mistake. Like, every time she looks at her, it's just like complete disdain.
No.
There's no real reason as to why Penelope hates her as much as she does, other than the fact that, you know,
she's
Cheryl's
fucking
a lesbian.
Other than Cheryl's fucking crazy sometimes.
Yeah, but she's not like that with her family. She's way more demure.
I was working on the eulogy for JJ.
A lot of these kids have, you know, issues with their families, and it's basically like wanting to please them, but their parents are just like, whatever.
Yeah. And the only one who hasn't been like that is Fred Andrews. I cannot survive without someone grounding me into like, hey Archie, you know,
I need an
being
anchor.
gone. It's just like, he really is anchors to the show. Petty doing more drama seeking, investigating, going on a date with Trevor.
Then I heard he was dealing drugs.
What drugs?
But really interrogating the motherfucker.
I know, the whole time, and he seemed none the wiser.
He was like, yeah, date? Awesome, great. Genuine, like, ready to go, just ready to have a good time, to get to know Betty. Psych, I have to ask you some questions. I'm curious as to what Jason was and how good of a player he was. Like, was he really that great to wear that number? Why didn't they retire the number? Why is Reggie a dick?
If anybody deserves to be captain and wear Jason's number, it's me.
If Jason was as good as he was,
You put that number on the wall.
yeah, you would retire it.
Yeah, you don't let anyone else wear it.
But the weirder thing is I think that, I don't know if it was really he was all that good. I think he was just idolized by so many people in this community.
My theory is that this town has never seen gingers prior to the Blossoms, and so when they either love or hate you, because if you notice, they treat Archie and Cheryl in way different ways because of how they look. And Jason was idolized because he was like a decent ginger, but Cheryl's such a weird, crazy ginger, and Archie's just a problematic ginger that people just feel weird towards them all the time.
You're positively radiating Nicholas Sparks.
Nobody wants to radiate a shit author. Hold on, before I say this, is this true?
Yes.
I'm also certain there are no black people in Nicholas Sparks stories. Just to put that out there.
Just white people embracing. I've only seen like 2 of his movies, which is A Walk to Remember and Dear John.
Can we put a lineup of all the posters? Cheryl is a fucking anime character in 4D.
To my surprise and chagrin, Mother added you to the guest list in case you're tempted to steal our silver candlesticks. Don't. We'll be searching bags.
Also, everyone's outfits remind me of Pretty Little Liars, but 10 times better.
See, the thing with Pretty Little Liars is the 4 of them were always dressed way better than everyone else.
Yeah.
But in Riverdale, it seems like
there's an equilibrium.
Yeah.
They've evened it out.
like everyone kind of tries to dress nice.
Yeah.
Enough.
And they have their own styles.
Yeah.
It's just that every time we see Cheryl walking into school, she very much puts on that front of tough girl and super bitchy and just like commanding of everything. She just feels like an anime character to me, just like that overblown anime character.
This particular episode, we actually figure out why she is the way she is, and it's because it's like one of those bully situations where you're like, oh, they're a bully because they're bullied at home.
There are worse things than prison.
Like this dinner party.
What did you say?
Literally was about ready to slap her at any given moment.
I think that was one of my favorite cuts because she's just like, man, this fucking sucks. What the fuck did you say?
Next level bullying. Like, her parents are horrible people.
Terrible. This is where it started to become apparent that Cheryl was one of my favorite characters, just the amount of layers that goes on internally with her. It's not just her parents, it's her brother. It's this isolation where it's like she kind of, if you kind of take a step back, she doesn't have anybody to really turn to.
Yeah, the only one she had was Jason, which is why she took his death so hard.
Yeah, and it's just like there's no one really there. But then you see her in those small instances where she is herself and is trying to reach out to people, but like she almost doesn't know how.
I think that's why I appreciated the scene between her and Veronica so much, is because there was a level of vulnerability to her there, and Veronica was actually willing to listen.
So Archie is a man of many attempted talents.
Attempted talents.
Yeah, so Mr. Castillo, another male figure in his life trying to tell him what to do.
Is that it? You're saying I should just quit?
Your previous teacher, whoever this grungy was, she just connected with you on another level that I can't. And I'm just like, yeah, because they were fucking. I was, really just waiting for Archie to be like, well, we can get on that level.
I can
just
give it
that
too.
music starts.
When the Coopers now, Hal talking about Polly, this is one of those times where I feel for Hal. I'm like, I know your wife gives you shit, but I can tell he loves his children. And there's just so much underneath that he doesn't express, where it's just like, I guess you'll find out.
We have no idea what is the truth and what isn't the truth with the Coopers. Like, they tell a lot of half-truths, a truth wrapped in a lie.
Wrapped in bacon.
So I kicked the door down. Polly was trying to hurt herself, Betty.
So I love the fact that the Blossoms were just like, oh, we're going to invite everyone to the wake and whatnot.
One of my favorite quotes, I think it was around this scene, where someone says, are you proposing a seance? which is a question I've never been asked. But I was just like, let's fucking do it, dude.
See, again, why I wish they would do a supernatural element, because that would be so fun.
I'm telling you, I believe in the next season, I think we're gonna get there.
Whenever they finally do the crossover with Sabrina. Also, this is the episode where there's like a ramp up with the Coopers versus the Blossoms.
The Capulets and Montagues.
They really are of this town. Like, you really don't notice it at first because you're just like, oh, they don't like them because, like, you know, their kids dated and whatnot. And it's just like, oh no, this goes deeper. You can tell.
This goes back to I think they've hated each other since
the Stone Age.
We're arguing because he and his filthy clan came this close to destroying our family.
I love Nana Rose. I love the fact that her ass just... Alright, so they're at the wake because, you know, that's what people do. And they decide to disperse for supper or whatever. And Betty and Jughead, being the investigative sleuths they are, or
sluts. The investigative sluts that they are.
They're like, let's go investigate Jason's room while everyone's doing something else. And, like, Nana Rose is literally in the corner.
Hello?
Like, in the dark for no reason. It's just like, why is she in there? Did she get left in there and then forgot where she was?
Is that you, Polly? And she said, like, what were you doing here?
That is a very good question, because again, she's just in the corner.
Also, is the Blossom household handicap accessible? Because I don't think they can get her down.
Honestly, I would full on believe that Penelope took her ass to Jason's room because she knew no one else would go in there, shoved her in the corner, and then walked off.
Nana, stay there. And just, oh my god.
I don't even think she said that. She just closed the door and left. Yeah. And then Nana was just like, I guess this is where I am now.
Fred and Hermione, I'm for it. What are your feelings about this?
Okay, so when it initially started, I was all for it. But as the show progressed, I was just like, I think Fred might be too good for Hermione.
Yes.
But it's only because I don't know what Hermione's motives are. Mm-hmm. That's really all it is. Like, if she were, like, a tit... Well, the thing is I feel like in the first season, she's a lot more genuine than she is...
Yeah, that's a whole thing. So, because in the first season, you get the sense that she's, like, trying to be better. But then, like, her past never escapes.
I think it's because... we don't have Hiram, and before, like, this is Hermione minus Hiram, so if anything, this is a more authentic Hermione, and I think that her and Fred would have really had a shot if her husband wasn't in the picture. Like, if he had been dead versus in jail, they could have had a chance.
Yes, absolutely. And also, once again, at some point we cut to the outside of the Blossom house, and it's covered in fog again. There's just
when they do their memorial at the very end, where they actually finally lay Jason's body to rest, and you're like, thank God. Well, thank God, because I'm just like, finally, Jason is in the ground and whatnot, and blah blah blah.
It's a sunny day, and there's fog.
We get to see Jason's ghost for a split second, and I'm just like, again, really want that supernatural element to continue on.
Dude, I mean, it's been hinted since this season, so it's like, it's slowly being edged in, and I think the next season, we're finally going to get it. We're finally going to get witchcraft.
Is it slowly being edgelorded in?
And on that note, we can end this episode.
Tune in next time when we discuss Chapter 6. I was about to say 3, my bad.
Chapter 3!
We're going backwards! Faster, pussycat! Kill, kill!
Which is a great band name.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down here and stuff. As always, thanks again, RiverHellians.
Bye!